Welcome to the Monday, January 9th, 2012 Eden Prairie Planning Commission meeting. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first order of business this evening is the approval of tonight's agenda. Any questions, any concerns?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. So approved. Next on the docket is the minutes from the Monday, December 12th Planning Commission meeting last year, 2011. Are there any changes that we need to make here? Anything that we need to note? If not, I will recommend a motion.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? I have to abstain. Just one of us? All right. Moving down to this evening's public meetings. We have 3 public hearings this evening. The first is the Ridge at Riley Creek, 5th edition by JMS Custom Homes, location 9567, 9667, 9687 Sky Lane. And the request is for a plan unit development concept review on 2.02 acres, plan unit development district review on 2.02 acres, zoning district amendment with R1-13.5 zoning district on 2.02 acres, preliminary plat of 2.02 acres in the 5 lots. And I understand that we had a little hiccup along the way as far as notifying the immediate community out there. Mike, can you just run us through that, please?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. We were notified of Wednesday last week that an owner did not receive notice for the project, and we discovered that our 500-foot radius hadn't covered all of the affected properties. We sent out notices to the residents anyways in case they wanted to come down for the meeting to see what we were going to do. But everybody we talked to, we said that what we were going to do was continue this item for 2 weeks so that they would have a little bit more time to think about the project, be better informed, so they can make their comments to the Planning Commission in a couple of weeks. We have a City Council meeting, which is on February 21st, so if you come back in a couple of weeks, it doesn't affect the developer's schedule for moving forward. So the staff recommendation at this point is to recommend a continuance to the January 23rd, 2012 meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Franklin. Given that circumstance, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, move to recommend a continuance to the January 23rd, 2012 meeting as requested by the project proponent.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, on the public hearing this evening, we have the Meadows at Riley Creek by Meadows LLC. Location is 9845 Sky Lane. Request is for a zoning district change from rural to R1-13.5 on 5.03 acres. Preliminary plat on 5.03 acres into 12 lots and 1 outlet. At this time, I'd like to call up the project proponent, give us a brief description of the project, and then we'll continue. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Steve Bona with JMS Custom Homes. And I'm just going to pull up a little PowerPoint. We are here tonight to present a preliminary plat for the Meadows at Riley Creek. And we're looking right over here. JMS Custom Homes, and in conjunction with Carlson Professional Services, have put together the plan for this project. Carlson Professional Services is our engineer, and they are responsible for partnering with us and laying out the project and doing the engineering. The Remfer family and JMS Custom Homes is partnering together to develop this property. We have worked with Remfer family quite extensively to put together a layout for this property. JMS Custom Homes has some history in the city of Eden Prairie. We recently completed Grand Haven at Marsh Cove in 2011, earlier this year. The Woods at Riley Creek, of course, which we're talking about today, which is adjacent to the Meadows. And Eden Creek back in 1992. And other recent communities that JMS Custom Homes is building in currently, Edina, Mound, Minnetonka, Savage, and some other locations as well. Just to give you a little background about who we are and what we're doing. The property that we are submitting a preliminary plat for, it's pretty simple. We have 11 new single-family lots plus one existing home. The plat that we have put together conforms to the R1 single-family zoning, and we are not requesting any variances. The staff report has a couple variances that we will be able to work through. They're just widths that were measured differently than city staff has done, so there will be no variances as we move forward with this. The existing home will stay, and as we're going to talk about as we move forward here, there's a proposed roadway easement to the north. There's a question mark behind that because this gets into a much larger issue about transportation in the area, road connections, serving smaller properties that will be developed as time goes on surrounding this, the Remfer property. That will get into we'll get into more detail about that right now. The neighboring properties are, the preliminary plat that we submitted with no variances seems like it should be no problem moving forward. We conform. We feel like it will work and be approved pretty easily until we receive the staff report that actually showed outside of the boundaries of the Remfer property, we are running into difficulties with this transportation system and the connections to the adjacent properties. So there have been, this was brought to our attention in the staff report, and we've been trying to figure out the best way to work through different solutions that may resolve these issues. And basically what this means, I don't have an overall plan of the property that I can show you right now, but we've got two property owners adjacent and to the north of this Remfer property, and they are also looking for access to their properties, which may or may not be able to be delivered to them from the north boundaries of their properties, which means that this property that we are developing may be one of the it may contribute to the access points to both properties and properties further to the east of these. And so that brings into, when we start looking at these properties, that brings us to some of the issues in road connections with those. We have serious topography challenges on one of the properties, and the topography on the north side of our property, and then on the property adjacent to ours drops 30 feet, maybe more, and a road connection to that property is very difficult. We have provided in our current plat an easement, a 50-foot right-of-way easement that can be used in the future to connect to the property to the north if that is the way that the city decides to go as they develop those properties with the property owners themselves. Although that does have some challenges with the topography. And the property to the west of that, which is the driver property, also has some of the same issues with access. And so basically what it came down to this week is city staff had submitted their comments. One of them was an east-west corridor that could run on the north side of our property that would serve the property, two properties to the north, and may give access, another access point to the Remper property. The Remper property may have issues with that because now it'll be surrounded by three sides of roadway instead of just two as it currently exists. So essentially what we're looking at is needing to get all parties together over the next maybe week or two or three and come up with solutions that we feel will work for all parties if that's possible. It's going to be difficult, but if we get all parties in a room, we think that would be the best way to get to that point. So we're looking for, you know, each party that is involved to come to the table with some options for solving the issues that we're dealing with. In conclusion, as we've kind of been hinting at, we'd like to continue the proposal to the February 13th meeting, as was mentioned in the staff report, and we would like direction for staff to host a meeting with these property owners, Mr. and Mrs. Driver, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Vern and Karen Remfer, and JMS Custom Homes to sit down at a table and see what we can come up with for access. And that would be, you know, taking into account what the city needs and the property owners, JMS Custom Homes, and figure out if there's a better way to bring in another proposal that might work better than what we've got today. So the goal would be to accelerate a shared vision as to the ingress, egress, and to formalize and document whatever agreement is put into play. So in the end, we really want some sort of an agreement which all parties can sign off on and say this is how it's going to be, whether I develop now or at some point in the future.
Thank you for the
That's right.
presentation. We'll come back to you if you have questions.
Okay.
Mr. Franzen, can you take us through the staff report, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I think the focal point of the staff report is how do you extend sewer, water, and roads so all three properties can maximize their development potential, and putting the road in a logical location and in a fair location so that you have some equal participation in providing the right-of-way for the east-west road. We took a very simplistic approach. What we've done in other projects is kind of split the right-of-way between the properties. It becomes a little bit of a challenge for the Remper piece because of the desire to maintain the house. It's a very nice house and should be maintained. And with some of the dimensions in the property, if we're going to work out a deal to make the right-of-way work, so all three properties develop fairly, we're going to have to show a little bit of flexibility on some of the lot sizes and the setbacks and the frontages so they can still maintain a 12-lot plan. Because density is really not an issue from the staff point of view because they're under 2.5 units per acre. And it's not a land use issue because they're proposing to develop the property single family and the area is guided for low density residential and single family. So in the staff report, we had made a recommendation for continuance to the February 13th meeting with direction to revise the plan according to the staff report or whatever sort of other equitable arrangement we can come out to figure out how these properties develop. And I know that we've talked with the property owners to the north. One of the property owners has their own PowerPoint presentation in regards to this proposal. So I think at this point, unless the Commission has some questions, I'm sure there's some other people in the audience that would like to talk about what direction we're going to go with developing these three pieces.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Franzen. As this is a public hearing, is there anyone who would like to approach the podium? It sounds like we have one or two people out there that would like to give a presentation, so you can do that now. Please come up, state your first and last name, your address, and take it from there. No one in the audience?
My name's Robin Smith. Smith. I'm one of the property owners to the north, and I did prepare a presentation tonight, understanding that the developer was going to present and go forward with this plan as it is. Given what they've just presented here, I'm going to defer until the next meeting. Give us a chance to talk about it. Okay? Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to approach the podium? Any questions from the commission?
Can we respond?
Yeah, sure, come on.
I just wanted to clarify one item, and that would be between now and the next meeting, if we can have some sort of direction to have the parties get together all in the same room with the city, that would really help us to move this thing forward. I'm not sure how else we can do other separate meetings. Are very difficult to accomplish anything when there's other property owners involved.
Okay, thank you.
I'll take care of that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Franzen. Sounds like we have a little bit more work to do, and hopefully all the parties can get together and we can come up with a fair compromise. At this point, if there's no questions from the commission, it looks like we're going to move to continuance. I'll entertain a motion for that.
Mr. Chair, move to recommend a continuance to the February 13th, 2012 meeting with the direction to revise the plan according to the staff report, DRC, and engineering memos, and attached graphics, and attached other paraphernalia with meetings between neighbors, city, and proponent.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 0. Motion passes. Continuance. Thank you. Next, we have the Republic Compressed Natural Gas Fueling Facility by Clean Energy. Location is 9813 Flying Cloud Drive. And the request is for a plan unit development concept review on 24.32 acres, plan unit development district review on 24.32 acres, zoning district amendment within the I-2 zoning district on 24.32 acres, and site plan review of 24.32 acres. At this time, I'd like to call on the project proponents to come up and give us a brief description of your project.
Good evening, Commissioners. First, I want to thank staff that worked with me on this project, Regina Rojas and Steve Durham. She's not here tonight, but she was great in effectively communicating with me on this project. And I wanted to say it's a pleasure to be in your town, in your city, working with Republic Services on this contribution towards a cleaner and more efficient method of fueling refuse trucks. First, I wanted to provide an overview of clean energy. Clean energy is the leading provider of natural gas for transportation in North America. Our business began in 1997, and we've experienced rapid growth, providing clean fuel transportation solutions to deploy large numbers of natural gas vehicles in the U.S. and Canada. More and more refuse trucks, such as the Republic fleets, are converting their fleets from petroleum to natural gas as part of this movement. We currently fuel over 25,000 vehicles at over 250 strategic locations across the United States and Canada. Our large customer base includes refuse, public transit, trucking, shipping ports, shuttles, taxis, airports, and many municipal fleet markets. Our mission is to continue to design, build, operate, and maintain natural gas facilities, offering the growing population of natural gas vehicles the latest in technology, safety, and convenience. And I have some site plan presentation boards.
Sure, go ahead.
So I didn't know.
If you want to move over there. And
Should I put them?
And again, please state your first and last name. Is he going to be presenting this?
Yes. Well, this is Jim O'Neill. He's the general manager of Republic.
Okay.
So he's here to answer any questions.
Okay, great.
This right side. This is not going to be the best viewing because it's black and white.
It's a little hard to see.
I think we might be trying to get a better view of that.
Okay. Does it come on automatically? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Looks like we're trying to get to... Oh, there we go. It's a little bit better. Still a little fuzzy, though. You can just go with your presentation, and we'll see
Okay.
if there's a
All right.
review of this.
Some benefits of natural gas, I'll just go into this a little bit. Natural gas for fueling for the CNG, compressed natural gas, just comes from the local utility gas lines, usually located in the ground in the vicinity of the property. Compressed natural gas is the same gas that most of us use to cook with. 98% of natural gas we use is produced right here in North America and is an abundant domestic fuel. 70% of the oil we use is imported. So CNG reduces our consumption of foreign oil. North America, it's reported, has at least 120-year supply of natural gas. And there's a simple fact that I wanted to provide to you. Converting one truck from diesel to natural gas is the equivalent of taking as many as 325 cars off the road in terms of pollution reduction. So we're here tonight to ask for approval on this CNG, compressed natural gas fueling facility for the use of Republic's fleets. We are not requesting any variances with this project. We meet all of the criteria of the zoning standards for setbacks and use. The property is currently a Republic Services operational facility, basically the home base for their fleet of refuse trucks. The property is located off of Flying Cloud Drive, and can I go to the board? Let's see.
Sure, go ahead. You can step over there if you like.
Step over there, okay. Our equipment, here's Flying Cloud, the entrance is through here. Our equipment compound.
Could you
is
speak,
located
I'm sorry, ma'am, could you speak closer into the microphones, please? Thank you.
You're welcome. Entrance is here. The
Excuse me, ma'am, if you could bend the microphone down a little bit more so we can hear you clearly. Thank you.
Okay, is that better?
A little bit better, thank you.
All right. The equipment compound is located in this spot here. The time fills are, there's 105 time fill slots. The trucks will come in the evening, they'll go to their time fill station and connect to the time fill fueling post. At a certain time, I don't know, there's program times that are available, and then the trucks will fill, and the next morning when the operators come in, the trucks will be ready to deploy. I have to make one note, though. There was a correction to the submittal. There's 191 time slots projected in our letter, but there is actually 105, which is, I believe, the current vehicle on site now is 105. So there's no increase to traffic, no increase to the facility's use. I can go into the how the equipment operates slightly, or I can just give you an overview of the project.
It's all up to you. We can always come back with questions after
Okay.
we review the staff report, too, so totally up to you.
All right. This is an elevation of the equipment compound here. This is the dryer, the compressors that compress the gas. From the compressor, it goes into the storage vessel. And at which time, when the time fills operate, the gas is then routed to the time fill slots. There's a 6-foot fence that surrounds the equipment compound. The storage vessels are above ground where the CNG is stored. This particular site has one vessel. The compressor equipment compresses the natural gas to 3,600 psi using electric-driven compressor motors. The tank is 5,500 psi. Our equipment is all prefabricated by certified manufacturers and is installed by qualified contractors. The installment goes through all of the required checks and balances for operation and safety testing. We work closely with the appropriate authorities throughout construction, startup, and the operation of the facility. In that, we appreciate the support the community has shown, and we are extremely excited to be working with Public Refuse and as they convert many of their operations to compressed natural gas vehicles.
Terrific. Thank you for the overview. We'll come back to you if we have additional questions. Mr. Franzen, can you take us through the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, this is a permitted use that conforms to the requirements of the industrial zoning district, and the staff recommends approval according to the recommendations on page 2 of the staff report.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Franzen. As this is a public hearing, is there anyone out in the audience who would like to approach the podium with any questions or concerns? Yes, sir. Please state your first and last name and address for public record, please.
My name is Michael Seelig. I live at 10232 Kirsten Place in Eden Prairie, and I think I'm probably the closest house to that facility.
Okay.
One of my biggest concerns is there is also, within the same 500-foot radius, there's a petroleum pipeline that runs right through there. Concerns me that we now have a petroleum pipeline and a natural gas container, all within 500 feet of my house, and I wonder what the safety considerations are with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll address that question. Ma'am, if you could address that, please.
All right. The natural gas that comes into the property is through the natural gas utility lines that are already existing. The storage vessel is rated through all of the safety manufacturers and certifications. There we have extreme monitoring 24/7, 365 days a year, with if we have the systems equipped with a methane detection sensor. In the event that there's a leak, the property authorities are notified through our rapid communication system. It's actually safer than the petroleum fuel. It has a lower ignition. It's harder to ignite, a narrow flammability range. Natural gas vapors are lighter than air and will dissipate as it hits the atmosphere. So I'm not exactly sure what your concern is. Is it the...
I think it would be more of the visual aspect of the container itself. Is that correct, sir?
Well, I'm concerned about the visual aspect is a concern, but it's also the safety aspect of having a container of natural gas within 500 feet of a petroleum line. The petroleum line, there's concern of fire, concern of explosion. With both of those together, you're just adding, adding fuel to the fire.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to approach the podium with any questions or concerns? Seeing none. This time I'll go to the commissioners. Any questions, concerns that you have? Go
I was just curious, have you installed any of these facilities anywhere else in the country?
Yes, we have.
A couple, or?
We have, as far as the compressed natural gas facilities, we have them in all, I can name the states if you like. We have New York, Texas.
I mean, just kind of general numbers, like 10-ish or something, or?
Oh, no, more than,
okay.
Many more than that. Yeah. We have 100 in planning right now, but we've got a large number built and constructed.
Okay. Does that answer, Katie? Mm-hmm. Jacob?
Just wondering about if there's any special remediation requirements or anything for removing the other tanks that are there now, or how that all works from an environmental standpoint. And then the second part would be if there's any special licensing that you guys have to get, either locally or from the state, and if you have all that in place and everything.
Yes, whatever certifications or permitting we need from the state, we will have to do that before permitting. Right now, I'm not aware that there's any additional permitting required by the state for this facility.
Okay, and then what about removal of what's there? How does that all work?
Yeah, I can answer that question.
If you could approach the podium, please. Thank you.
I'm John O'Neill. I'm the General Manager for Republic Services. We don't anticipate any remedial action needed as we have two 10,000-gallon above-ground storage tanks on the facility right now, and those most likely will be removed, and since they're above ground, we don't anticipate any issues with contamination or whatnot.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, Jake?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns? It sounds like this initiative is kind of a new initiative that's going to be going across the country, so to speak, and it's still in its infant stages, and I think Mr. Seelig does have a valid question, not so much the eyesore of it, if you will, but more or less the safety concerns. But I think due to lack of other individuals in the close community not being here tonight and being satisfied with your with your statement about the safety concerns and how you would combat those safety concerns, I feel comfortable approving this. So if there's any other questions, we could go down the line, or...
I guess in to lieu of the safety concern aspect, I wonder what our engineering staff, if they have anything to say about that or not, or if they want to chime in on it. Or
It's a good question.
I don't think we have any particular knowledge of this technology. I do know that we talked to our fire marshal, and they were acceptable with this going in. That's true, Mike?
Yeah, we had several discussions at our internal staff meeting, and just our normal permitting requirements in building and fire is what they'd be looking for.
Okay. Thank you. Does that satisfy? Okay. If there are no other questions, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, move. Oh, sorry.
Sure. Come on up, please.
Tony Keller, and I actually live at 10172 Kirsten Place.
Could you spell your first and last name, Tony?
Tony Kelleran, Kelleran.
Okay.
I live at 10172 Kirsten. Continuing on, just a safety concern. Have we looked at the actual pipeline and how, and the direction that it actually takes in proximity to the actual fueling station? It'd be interesting to know how close those two are, run together, just to, ease if the pipeline were to blow or something, and the proximity to the tanks, we could have a fairly big disaster on our hands. So it'd be interesting to know how that pipeline runs in proximity to the space.
Good question. Thank you. Ma'am, if you could expound on that, please.
Are you talking about the existing gas line versus the petroleum?
Yes, ma'am. Because the gas line runs between my house and my other neighbor's house, so it would be interesting to know.
I think the question is the proximity of the new tank going in itself to the existing gas line. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Well, the above-ground vessel will be in this location here. And then the gas line, if John could help me out, I think the gas line connection comes in through this road here.
I'm not 100% certain what gas line.
And if you could speak into the microphone, please.
Is that their gas line, or is that the existing gas line that already exists within the neighborhood?
Okay. We'll address the first question here, and then we'll get to that.
I have another plan in my binder. Let me get that.
Sure.
Could I ask a clarification to the property owner on this gas line? Referring to the CenterPoint Energy natural gas line or the methane gas collection system within the landfill itself?
No, it would be the center. I believe it's
Picture the Magellan.
Magellan?
Pipeline
Okay.
that runs
All right.
through the, I don't know if it runs through this property or the property next to it.
All I know is the survey we looked at didn't show any underground utilities in the location of where they're proposing this. There wasn't any sewer line, water line, gas line.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any petroleum pipeline that actually runs through our property. So,
Because that would have to show up on an easement on their survey drawing. So I can't tell you precisely where it is in relationship to the 24 acres.
not showing any petroleum easements through. Yeah, our surveys are not showing any petroleum pipeline easements through the property.
Not at all.
I'm sorry?
We're not showing any petroleum pipeline easements through our property. We don't have any records of a petroleum pipeline running through our property except for the natural gas line that's there now.
Mr. Franzen, does that kind of concur with what our safety measures on staff have looked at, or?
I think we looked at it in terms of just this facility itself.
Okay.
We didn't look at it in relationship to the line, but that's a question we can pose to the fire marshal.
Okay.
I don't know if this is something that you want us to come back with you to an answer, or if this is something you want us to research and have that provided to the council and get back to the two property owners on this. It's whatever your preference is.
I would probably go with the second option. We can move this along so we can keep this on task, but have some more dialogue between the project proponent and city staff, and have that presented to the council meeting.
I can just get your names and phone numbers, then I'll call you with information.
Okay, so at this time, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, move to close the public hearing.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got one more. Mr. Chairman, move to recommend approval of the planned unit development concept review of 24.32 acres, planned unit development district review of 24.32 acres, zoning district amendment within I-2 zoning district of 24.32 acres, and a site plan review of 24.32 acres based on plans dated December 27, 2011, and the staff report dated January 6, 2012, as well as provide further, I suppose would be
Due diligence as far as safety matters go.
as well as due diligence regarding safety concerns of residents to be addressed at the city council meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes for now. Thank you. Next on the agenda. Since we're done with the public hearings, do we have any planners' reports?
Mr. Chairman, we do have a meeting scheduled for January 23rd. The first item is the Ridge at Riley Creek 5th returning for the public hearing and commission discussion and recommendation. We also have a new project. There is a building that is on the north side of Highway 5 near Mitchell Road. It's an old Bake Mark building. And we have Appliance Smart that wants to use part of that building for a sort of recycling facility and kind of a showroom sales. And they also want to construct another 16,000 square foot building on the property.
Okay.
And those are the only two hearings that are scheduled.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Franzen. Any members' reports? Any continuing business? Any new business? If not, I will seek a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Just a second, and we are good. Have a good evening.